Good day to you, everyone, wherever you're joining me from all over the world. I bring you greetings. I wish you a great new year. My name is Remy Duyule. I would like to welcome you to Bridge to Freedom. Bridge to Freedom is a podcast where you get your front row seat because it will help you from possibility, from purpose to possibilities. And you wonder, why do I say that? I say that from a position of experience. As we all know, experiential learning is priceless. It's something that we all pride in. And for me, as a Nigerian American who has been here in America for over 4 decades, still counting, making God proud, doing what we need to do to continually give back, pay it forward. I want to welcome you to this podcast that is focused on Bridge to Freedom. This show, again, like I said, will be your first row seat in this journey. If you followed me, you would hear my stories. Real stories never change because they are the experiences you've lived. You would have heard my story about teller to vice president to CEO. Again, that is going to be part of what we talk about. Each week, I would come to you live and talk to you just like I'm doing now. So we can reason together, we can share together, because they are demonstrated best practices that has worked for me, that's working for me. There are some that don't work anymore. So I'm going to be sharing all of those things simply for the purpose of you being able to understand when you are in alignment with your purpose. Clearly, possibilities are plenty. So you are going to have ways to achieve those great aspirations that the Lord lays in your heart. Again, wisdom is all we all lean on. And how do we get wisdom? We get wisdom, if you're a person of faith, through prayer, through engagement, in so many things that would enlighten you to being able to really take advantage of your environment. And yes, that is what I have been able to do. And most of the experiences will come from a position of what I've been through, what others have been through that I've mentored, and how we have overcome. So this morning we are starting, now that we know what this podcast is about, we're starting straight up from zero, ground zero. And I know you're thinking, what is ground zero? What is she talking about? Is there another situation that's leading to ground zero? The ground zero in this scenario would mean when you are living from the bottom up, when you have pretty much worked hard and suddenly something happens. The something that happens might not have been a result of you doing anything wrong. It might have been as a result of ignorance, and ignorance is something that we all live with. Sometimes you don't know a thing till you get familiar with it and it becomes something that you can resonate with. So in that period of learning, there could be a little inch of ignorance, which is allowable. That's why we seek knowledge. So that knowledge that we're seeking, when it comes, then we become knowledgeable. Nobody jumps up and becomes knowledgeable like that without practice. unless we want to deceive ourselves. But this show is not going to be leading to any deceit. We want to keep it real to let you know, yes, you can do all that you need to do. And a ground zero can hit you like that. And what do you do when it happens? When that happens, you don't see it coming. You have done everything in alignment to ensure that you're doing your part of what you're supposed to do. But if the economy turns, you can't control that. If your employment situation happens suddenly, if you're working for someone, you can't control that. If you own your own business and something catastrophic happens, like during COVID, life changes. So these are things that we constantly experience as people. But does that mean we give up? Absolutely, positively no. You cannot give up. I didn't. And the result of not giving up is plenty. It's a lot that you gain from not giving up. But in order to stay grounded, you have to be rooted in constantly feeding your mind, constantly engaging with network. I bet to say network that is even deeper and greater than you. Don't be in the radar of people that you might think you're the only person that have all the answers. That's not the right crowd to be. It's okay to be in a crowd whereby you have people who know more than you. Of course, you're going to know more things than some people. So you want to be able to make sure that when you're building, even when you're building the trajectory of what you envision your life to be all about, that you're building in tandem with people, with situations that are bigger than you, situations that are not just solving your own problem. Because life is not just about solving your own personal problems. There's so many problems out there. And if you're the source that can give people hope, go figure. Being a former vice president of a bank, I can't stop and say anything without incorporating money to it. You can solve problems, you can make money. I remember talking to one of my mentors once upon a time. He says to me, Remy, there's never shortage of money anywhere. He said, the shortage of what we have might be solutions to problems, that as long as there are problems, just figure how to solve it. Someone will pay for you to have those problems solved. And for me, I followed those plans. I followed everything verbatim, thinking, yes, we're building, we're building. Yes, building is a good thing. But when you're building, there are other auxiliary disruptors, distractions that you can't control when it happens, meaning when life shows up and puts you to ground zero. After you've done all that you can do, all you can do is still stand and stand firmly with the conviction that there is a purpose why we are here. There is a reason. There's that uniqueness that you have within you that's greater than all others. But if you don't birth that greatness, then you're going to be doing a disservice to others who might want to lean on your genius. Because a lot of times we think, oh, my stories don't matter. Oh, I've heard it from someone or somebody else is saying it. Nobody can live the same exact life that you lived. No one. So my ground zero experience was very, very sudden. Left corporate America as a former vice president, left the bank. My goal was to really start my own bank, honestly, because I had been around, started as a teller with an MBA in finance, and knew that once I got my foot into the door, the rest will be history. People will see what I bring to the table. And that was what happened to the glory of God. All those youthful exuberance, I was in my 20s, of course, all the youthful exuberance, corporate etiquette, and just overcoming my four strides every day, Black, female, Nigerian accent, didn't let that stop me, because to me, that was not an impediment. Those were my value proposition. So all of those things were done, and the company realized my value, and so on and so forth. Wanted, like I said, that was the goal, being in retail banking, being in premier banking, being in mortgage banking. So pretty much I saw that as, I would say to myself, musical chairs. So when you're advancing in musical chairs, it means you're still winning. When the chair is out and you can't find a place to sit, then you know it's over. But I was playing musical chairs because there was always a seat for me to be put. And I said to myself, what's next? At least I've proven to myself that I can function in a corporate setting, in a Fortune 50 company. This was way back when there was no DEI. There was nothing that separates anybody, that gives you privilege to get in. It was pure hard work, perseverance with God's support. And it happened. And as nature would have it, as destiny would have it, I was bold enough to say, you know what, I need to move on. And I moved on to start my own mortgage company, which we ran beautifully, because my yardstick was my Bank of America. That was who trained me in corporate America. That was where I started as a teller, where I went through a management trainee program, where I went through all of the training that executives need to be able to function in an eyebrow company like that. So thinking back, all I can do when I talk about the bank is to beam, because that was my youthful days, and I was able to learn correctly the best way, because they were amongst the best banks. So being in a management trainee program, which was not a cakewalk to be in it. Remember now, Black, female, Nigerian accent, all of those things you can look at and think, oh, maybe this will stop me. For me, it didn't matter. All I knew I needed to show was to show up that I can add value. And every time I did, thankfully, I had leaders who saw this young, vibrant immigrant who was just nailing it. Service, nail it. Sales, nail it. All corporations want is results in all angles. And for me, I made sure that I did all of that. So when you've been through all of that, you can dovetail into what I believe was my exit strategy, which was to start my own mortgage company. And we started well. I started even with a client that followed me to execute my vision, because the client said to me, Remy, you are my Bank of America. I can follow you wherever you go. As the Lord will have it, that was what happened. Went and started. One of them even enabled me to have my own office, because I didn't want to rent. I didn't want to go and put myself in a strain. So those who I knew took me as like their own mentee, even though they were my clients. They were fascinated by how I serve them. So if you're out there listening to me and you're in the service industry, sales industry, just do unto others what you want to be done to you. Go all out, because people are watching. Your boss might not be watching, but other people are watching. And those who are watching might be your destiny helper. For me, two of them were my destiny helpers. Who leaves a corporate setting to go and start a business and have your own office building, a unit that you own? Not too many, but that was what I wanted to have. And how could I have it? I had to go to my network of people who I knew cared about my success, even in corporate setting. And they never failed. They came with their business, and the rest was history. So we hit the ground running. So we hit the ground running from ground zero, and we raised it up, made good sales, did home buyer workshop, because it was all about financial literacy for me. You don't get those many years of serving and just do business as usual. No, it wasn't going to just be business as usual. It was going to be beyond that. It was going to be about education. So if you're going to get into a home ownership, do you understand the nuances of what it entails to have that home? Now you're not a renter, so you can call Ghostbusters to say, hey, I need this fixed. You're it. So it was important to me to ensure that people learned that. So we had a nonprofit that did home buyer workshop. So all of this was set. I'm giving you the background to how structured these foundations were built in our own eyes. And sales came, service came, great work, great people, had many employees who did well, made sure I attracted the best, because I wanted to run a company of integrity, a company that model my experience as a Bank of America former associate, because that Bank of America was still in me. So we did all of that. And Lord and behold, the meltdown came. 2008, that meltdown came. It was kind of hovering around 2007. But hey, young, vibrant, still thinking I'm young, I still have years ahead, was able to keep on moving. But when this meltdown came, I didn't see it. I did not see that it was a meltdown. I was thinking, oh, I'm young. I can still have years to ride this and do whatever. So I depleted all of my savings, my 401k, everything that I invested for my retirement and even my leaving, put it in there, because gradually there were needs. Income was not coming because the economy had tanked then, but I didn't see it. So I had to go to that ground zero. And it was not pretty. But one thing that was for sure is that I knew someone greater than me, which in my faith is God, was with me through that. Because my spirit was never dampened. Instead, it was ministered to that, Remy, this is the tip of the iceberg. What I have purposed for you to do, you have not even scratched the surface. There is another avenue. And I'm thinking, what else could that be? Because I'm already serving people. I'm already doing what I needed to do. And it was ministered to my spirit. I've always wanted to give back, that all of the experiences, all of the favor that I've enjoyed in a foreign land that I didn't have anybody to write a note and introduce me, but God introducing me, I knew there was something that needed to happen. It couldn't have just been about me getting all of this knowledge, revelation, and just let it be. It has to be beyond that. And of course it was. Then I looked within. Then Legacy Premier Foundation was born, because I knew there has to be a way to do financial literacy. There has to be a way to help the underserved, in which I am also in that category. So all of those things got me back from my ground zero experience. Of course, was it fun to lose everything, making solid six figures that I was being my own employer, went down the tubes? But God showed me that it is possible to use a model of experience that you have walked at diligently, faithfully, to build yourself. So if you're out there listening and you're working for someone, it is so paramount that you put in your best every single day. Because as you're putting your best, you're building your brand you, because that's how your habit will be formulated. I don't remember a school that anyone can go to,
a school of life that will teach you everything before you start something. You're gonna learn on the job, even as parents. There's no school that can teach you all that you need to do to raise the best kids. No, you learn on the job. So I was learning on the job. And of course, with my learning, with all that I did, it still gave me a ground zero experience. So, what did I learn from my ground zero experience? Because there was restoration in that ground zero. What I learned is that when you are in that ground zero experience, that is not the time to give up, because you're already in an experience that is puzzling your mind, is making you wonder, why me, why not me, and all that good stuff. After you go through that pity patty, which we all have to go through because we're human, I went through that. But thank God that I'm able to be in tune with my maker. So every time I felt that moment, there was something bigger that says, shake it up. You haven't even started, my child. You are just beginning. Can you get up and dust it off? Hence, I dusted it up. I knew I wanted to teach. I wanted to give back. That was my goal. In my 50s, I was just going to be an educator, teaching all the knowledge of what I have learned in my finance world. Still doing that, did that then. And all of those were happening. What was missing was my coins in the bank, those solid six figures that I was paying myself because I did the work. I had the clients, I had the people who worked for me. That was missing. And it's a little different when you have to go from complete having to zero. It's no pretty thing, but you can overcome it. Because, hey, I'm talking about it now. I've overcome it. I've overcome that because I knew there's always something greater in you that you haven't tapped into. And why it's important that you hear this is even during those aha moments, make sure you're investing in yourself. Make sure you're investing in yourself. The reason why you have to invest in yourself is you cannot just build on that role that you're doing now. For me, it was important that I understood the community that I migrated to. It was important for me that I'm part of my children's school activities. Those were important to me because I didn't want to be a spectator. I wanted to be involved. I wanted to be well-rounded. And I knew there was no school that could teach me that, even though I had my MBA. There was another school of thought that needed me to learn through working with others. And I was able, through strategic volunteerism, I was able to learn some things, still learning, still unlearning. Yeah, sometimes you got to unlearn. We can talk about that some other time. You can still unlearn. And when you do all of these things, you're going to be building network of people of quality. Sometimes some will not be because they might not fit the standard that you have set for yourself by the virtue of your experience. And it's okay. And sometimes when they finished their assignment in your life, they might have to shift away from your purview. That doesn't mean you're not friends or you're not together. It just means your priorities have shifted. So when you are in your ground zero experience, you will have to be very decisive. You will have to be decisive because you are the only one who would understand that experience that you are feeling or that you felt. Nobody, not even your spouse, not your kids, nobody can understand that pain that you feel. Nobody can understand the joy too when you start connecting and you start hearing the Lord speak to you on what the directions are. Because when you tell people what the directions that you're getting from your maker, nobody will believe it because it won't make sense. It won't make sense because it's not going to be directions that will put the same money that you were making in your pocket. Sometimes it's going to be just pure service, 100%. And sometimes people are wondering how you're going to pay your bills. If you're going to be doing this and that, they're going to be asking you that. So a lot of times I'm on the quiet side. I just internalize my assignment and I walk towards it. And I say less. I'm a speaker by profession too, but I only speak when I need to speak. I don't just want to say something because I want you to feel impressed. No, that's not my style. So I can be quiet and just listen to my inner person. And that's what I did during those ground zero moments. And as you begin to see the ground zero moments shifting painfully, because now you have all that, you are a bag of chips and all that. Now you're like ground zero, thinking deep and like, I was so faithful, putting all of the percentages, the maximum to the 401k, thinking of the future as I'm walking off the now. Now all of this went to zero because I was not knowledgeable enough to see that the economy had an impact in what was happening. I was so buried in my business. So lesson also, don't be too buried in your business that you don't hear what's happening around you. So that also was my lesson learned. So I hope that lesson helps you. I did promise that this would not be a long-winded conversation because it's going to be, you will get me at least 30 minutes a day. It will be in the morning between 6 and 6:30 is the goal, but it will be between 6 and 7. It will not be after 7. So if you're joining me today, I can see all the people online. Thank you for joining. I appreciate your joining. Please share the video. Share this if it's been a blessing to you. This is a way for all of us to learn from each other because that's all we can do. And as I'm ending up, I want to do a call to action because there are things that we need to be doing when we're in that ground zero moment. You have to assess your businesses. You have to assess your situation. You might say, Remy, I don't have a business. I'm just an employee. I'm just working for myself. I'm a self-employed. Whatever, wherever you are, you've got to assess your business. You've got to assess where you are now. What is that thing that needs an improvement? What is that area of improvement that you need? For me, I've always wanted to be able to speak, to train, to coach, because every time my former bank, Bank of America, sent me for leadership training, that's one kudos to Bank of America all day long. We went to the best training. The Zig Ziglar, Peter Lowe, Les Brown, who now is my mentor. When we go for that beginning of the year training, I'm there and I'm like, wow, I would love to be able to do this. And remember now, my skill set was not speaking. As a matter of fact, my fear of speaking turned into my passion. Because in corporate America, I had to find my voice. Because I was selling, good salesperson, good service person. But you better be able to express yourself, or people will tell your story. I would probably not be able to tell my story the way I'm doing it in the comfort of my home right now. So all of those things are things you have to understand, that the fear that you have can turn into your passion. And because of those experiences that I garnered from the bank, I was able to begin to see myself in being able to pay it forward. Because I didn't really have people of my ethnicity, especially those who have the immigrant background, that I could run to in my generation when I was rising up. So I had to figure some things out because I come from a different background, a background loved by my father, my mother, and my family, where we were focused and did our best, where my father said, whatever a man can do, a woman can do. So I was raised with a silver spoon, with a man who knew that there was nothing that can stop you but you. So that's the mentality I brought into America. So I wasn't going to be stopped by anybody or laddie daddy. I was unstoppable. And people still can't figure me out till today. And you know what? I don't think they will, because the person who gave me the formula for them to be able to figure it out, they have to go to him. And if they go to him, he's already in heaven. So that means they won't be around. So I say that to say that when you are grounded by a very solid foundation of family, sometimes we don't have families, it might be friends. For me, it was my family that got me and gave me the audacity to say, you know what Father said is hard work, hard work. So if you're not working hard, or you're feeling sorry that somebody is trying to make you feel less than you, he said, you don't give anybody permission to make you feel less than you, because you are the best. I raised you to be the best. And my mother was a praying warrior. She prayed her heart out. So I knew I was secured, but I got to put in the work. So when you're in your ground zero moment, what do you have in your toolbox? Go to your toolbox. I just shared some of mine. Go to your toolbox and pull it out and use it to sustain you. And whatever you have in your toolbox, you're going to be able to use it all the time. There's series to what we are doing. Today is the ground zero experience. So I'm going to wrap up. I've been saying that. Going to wrap up, and you will hear more things. And most of them will be wrapped around my own personal experience and my network of influence to share with you. And whatever works for you, please use it. Whatever doesn't work, flush it away. But please share this video with people who you think it might benefit. Again, assess your business model. Pivot or scale. Take strategic action to drive growth or solve pressing issues. What are those pressing issues? You got to take strategic action to solve it. Leverage your networks. I always tell people, strategic networking is going to be the game changer. You don't just network anywhere and anyhow. It's got to be strategic. My networking is strategic. It's got to be in alignment with my passion. If I am in a space and I don't connect with my passion, then that's not the right place for me, because I strategically volunteer, I strategically engage, because I want to be where I'm celebrated, not tolerated. And I want to be around people I can celebrate, not tolerate. So I have that super control. So please, when you leverage network, connect with mentors. Some will be virtual mentors. Initially, Les Brown was a virtual mentor, but now is a mentor. But there are people that will be from afar. For me, Oprah is a mentor, a far mentor, because I watch what she does. And that brings me a lot of joy to see what's coming up. Bishop Phyllis Funke Adejumo is a great mentor because she balances all that is priority to me and interest to me. She brings it together and makes it real in her teachings. So for me, there are people from afar, but those people from afar sometimes becomes real-time mentors, because you can nurture relationship. And when it's nurtured, it can lead to things that will blossom. So your takeaway today is ground zero is an opportunity to reset and refocus. Got it? Reset and refocus. Strategic action and adaptability will drive your business growth. I said it earlier, strategic volunteerism. When you're volunteering, you're serving your way into people's space. And when you add value to them, trust me, they want to add value back to you. Leverage your network and resources to overcome challenges. Challenges are going to be there. I just opened up and told you, you are going to make money when you solve problems. That's what I learned in corporate America. And as a finance branded brain person, find problems, find solutions, and see if you don't make money. People have problems all day long, including me. And there are problems that you will be the only one who can solve. If something is getting under your skin and you're feeling, oh, I need to do this, go on the air, find how to solve it. And that's all you need to do. So I want to say thank you for you joining today. You will see me once a week, Thursday, between 6 and 7, 6 to 6:30 preferably, but no later than 7. So I hope to see you again. Share this if you're on Facebook, on LinkedIn, on my YouTube channel. We're in for a treat. This is what we are doing. We have a conference coming too called Becoming and Beyond Leadership Conference. Stay tuned. Join me same time next week. Thursday is our date, guys. You get the front row seat in the show that you're in right now. Beyond, beyond. You can become and you can go beyond all of that. So I thank you for joining me, and I look forward to seeing you same time next week. And be blessed.